we both have in our top 5 now. So we have guys that we both have in the top 5 that we're talking about now. One of them is Jack Sawyer, the edge rusher from Ohio State. I'm a big fan of this guy, man. I can't quit him. I know a lot of people are lowering him on the board and think he's more of a second or third round pick. I really like him. I think he's the best run defending edge in this class. His fundamentals are so sound. He's a very strong player. 89.5 run defense grade in the Big Ten over the last 2 years. He uses really good power moves to get after the quarterback, and 91 pass rush grade over the last 2 years. His motor runs hot all the time. Pre-game, during the game, even post-game, saw the Michigan stuff. His motor's always running hot for Jack Sawyer. And obviously, veteran leader of an Ohio State team that won a national championship. He made that big play against Texas in the semifinal where he strip sacked Quinn Ewers on 4th and goal that would have tied the game, ran it back for a touchdown that really put it away. He's a veteran leader of an Ohio State team that won a national title too. So you're getting a high character guy in your locker room. Now, the negatives with Jack Sawyer and why people would be lower on him: 3rd percentile arm length, very short arms, 31.75 inches, 31 3/4. Not a lot of pass rush moves outside of power moves either. Doesn't really have great bend at his size, and does not make many plays in the backfield as a run defender. He's more of a guy who'll sit the edge really well in the run game. So kind of an opposite of Princely Monmielen, where he's either going to make a play in the backfield or not do anything as a run defender. Sawyer's more of a guy who'll set the edge really well in the run game, but not really make too many tackles for loss. But that's the only question mark in his run defense. Is really it with him. But one of the highest floor players in this class. Really good fundamentals, incredibly sound in all areas. He's going to be a dominant force as a run defender, going to set the edge in the run game, and has excellent pass rush production at Ohio State too as a power rusher. So I get the concerns with Jack Sawyer, but I think 3rd round talk is way, way too low for him. I would consider him somewhere late 1st round, maybe even early 2nd round too.
No, I think so. I'm with you. I think he should be one of the first at least 40 to 45 players selected, and I think it feels like Sawyer's a guy who, depending on what you value as an evaluator, it says a lot where you would select Sawyer, where a team will select Sawyer in the upcoming draft. It says a lot about what they value in a football player as opposed to guys who go and tear up the combine and guys who are freak athletes who are unpolished. Jack Sawyer is, first of all, he's just an absolute dog, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's Mr. Ohio. He's going to be the guy. He plays with his heart and soul every single snap. He plays all the way to the whistle. And you mentioned it. Doesn't it just feel like he's always in the middle of something?
Yes.
Right? It felt like every single time Ohio State needed a big play to be made. The Texas play, like you mentioned, beating Cameron Williams, stripping Quinn Ewers, housing it all himself. I mean, it just felt like over and over, Jack Sawyer is that guy who makes those type of plays, right? And I think you mentioned the run defense tape. It's one of my favorite things to watch in this draft. Yeah. It's just so darn fundamentally sound. And even with the shorter arms, he knows how to work around it right now. There are times, I think, as a pass rusher, he's willing to get into an offensive lineman's chest a little bit too much. Sometimes he kind of has to with shorter arms. He's not going to beat anybody with length, right? But I think you have a guy who is more fundamentally sound than he's given credit for, right? The arsenal needs some work, and he's probably closer to a B athlete than an A one, but he's such just a good, well-taught football player, and he's a guy who plays, first of all the way to the whistle every snap. And second, if one thing you notice in run defense, 3 things I always look at when you're talking about players at any position: feet, hands, and eyes, okay? His eyes are always on the football. He is constantly aware of where the football is at all times and where he needs to get to, and kind of that controlled manner that I told you, like I'd rather see a Mike Green or a Nick Skorton play with sometimes. Jack Sawyer plays in control at all times. You never see him do things that take him out of place or out of where he needs to be. So again, I could understand him being a 2nd round pick based on, okay, he's more of a fundamentally sound player than an explosive one, but there could be a team that sees him as a late 1st rounder going, okay, I can get maybe 8 to 10 sacks out of him as a pass rusher. He's a really good run defender despite the short arms, and you mentioned it, you talk about high character guys, Jack Sawyer is it. I mean, he's a leader. He's an absolute dog, and I think somebody in the top 50 is going to get a really good player in him.
And dude, if somehow we could fall to Dallas in the 2nd round and they can get him to pair up with Parsons, that's the dream for him. I think there's plenty. You're right. If they went to some other position, if they went offensive line in the 1st round or receiver or something like that, I think it's absolutely an option. Anywhere from 20 to 50, I wouldn't be that shocked with Sawyer, but I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL. I'm a huge fan of him. He's currently edge 10 on the consensus board. We have him both in the top 5 of our rankings as well. So, hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.